Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. It's Friday, July 31st, 2015, and I'm joined here by Pete Hahn.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
And we figured we'd kind of do another podcast and kind of tell everybody what's going on and give a big wrap-up of the last week. There's just been so much going on.
Yep. We haven't done one in a little bit, but first I think we wanted to mention James is currently streaming to bring awareness about Harda Gaming. If you haven't heard, Harda Gaming's one of the premier competitive locations in the UK. They're in London. And they were broken into and a bunch of their console equipment was stolen. So they have a GoFundMe page that we linked in our Facebook page. But James is streaming to bring awareness. James was there earlier this year, and he just wanted to bring awareness to everyone. So he's streaming one of his favorite games, one he currently holds the world record in, Forgotten Worlds. So if you're available and want to check that out, our stream's going right now. He'll be streaming it most of the weekend, he told me. So.
Yeah, he was very enthusiastic. James always looking to help out pretty much anyone in the gaming community. He just is so entrenched in it, and traveled out to the UK. And how cool is it that he's taken literally the majority of his weekend is going to be working on Forgotten Worlds, and hopefully we end up seeing a new world record out of it.
That'd be really cool. Yeah,
he's been playing it pretty much nonstop. I know him and Brian Shillow were going back and forth in the score, and
I think James got it back last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Brian had it last week, and then James got it back.
And then again, Triforce Johnson was the one who originally had it. So it's been very interesting watching that play out, and I know it's a score he's very proud of.
Sure.
So hopefully, again, if there's so many great things that are trying to raise money right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's excellent that it's growing on so many levels. There's Martin Alessi's Little Player magazine.
Yep, his Kickstarter is almost done. I think it's got a few days left.
Yes. But still time to put money towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it gets funded. Definitely a very good cause. The Midway documentary called Insert Coin.
Yep.
Which
one is outstanding.
That is.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that. That looks like it's going to meet its funding, and they've been getting a lot of interest.
Yep.
John Tobias recently added a new tier
Of rewards.
Yeah. Well, you get. He's doing a special piece of artwork where I think it's $150 if you donate. You'll get a custom piece of artwork from John Tobias,
That's
co-creator
crazy.
of Mortal Kombat.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And the stories they've been showing, it's just such a cool. It looks like it's gonna be a really great documentary.
Yeah, and it's obviously from our area, so it's even cooler. So
for sure,
yeah,
for sure. Also, Kerry Cheney of the Place Retro Arcade out in Ohio is, I believe he just did I want to say it's a GoFundMe page for a tournament and just kind of like a pinball and arcade game gathering, which that looks really promising. Kerry, his arcade is definitely really amazing.
So this is for like a competition he wants to run?
Yeah, it's kind of like an expo.
Oh, okay.
So I know he's
looking to have like vendor booths like an E3?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So definitely go check that out on GoFundMe and donate whatever you can, because that's all of those are four great causes right there.
For sure.
So in other news this week, we were hanging out with we just upgraded one of our cabinets. We just managed to get Brian Colin, creator of, again, so many great classic arcade games like Rampage and Disc-Citron. He called me up and he invited us out to his storage unit, and he's like, we have some cabinets that he thinks would be better off for being in front of the people.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really cool.
And he gave us 3 cabinets. And so far we've put Rampage World Tour out on the floor, which our original cabinet was that we had was it was a original Midway Rampage game cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3-player, but it wasn't the original World Tour cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the art on the new one looks amazing.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's got George, Ralph, Lizzie, and Vern on it,
Mm-hmm.
and just the artwork on that. Like, even back in the day, that was a fairly rare cabinet. They did a lot of kits of that one, and you didn't see too many original dedicated. We were very fortunate that he considered it to put it here and let everybody enjoy it. And we actually shifted the row around a little bit just because, like, I love seeing that artwork. So we moved it to an end cap so everybody can see the nice artwork.
Cool.
That was one of the games that we had made the trip to Mississippi. That was one of the main games that I wanted to go get out there. And by the time I got there, that cabinet wasn't there anymore.
Oh.
So unfortunately, we didn't get that one. But again, very generous of Brian Cullen to give us that. And very happy. And it's an honor to have a game from his collection on the floor.
It's very generous of him. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other 2 games, though, that he gave us...
Are they secrets?
They are secrets right now.
Okay.
They are in the vaults, and probably during the anniversary week, we can expect to have several new games come out.
Like unveiled, take a big black blanket off of the cabinet and unveil it.
These 2 are just amazing.
Okay.
Just jaw-dropping titles.
Cool.
Brian is actually bringing a lot of artwork and a lot of cool memorabilia from a lot of the games that he worked on to our swap meet that's coming up. That you're managing.
Yeah, I'm kind of running that. If you haven't heard, we'll take a little side here and just go over that. But basically, it's coming up on the 8th of August, which is a week from tomorrow. It's going to be running from open till whenever the vendors decide to leave. Vendors are going to start showing up around 10:30, but then when the arcade opens at 11, anyone that's paid to get into the arcade is welcome to get into the swap meet and just check out what everyone else is selling. If you're looking to sell anything, get in contact with me. If you have a lot of stuff, we'll get you a table. So far, I've got like 6 or 7 people that have requested tables. Some of them are just private people with a bunch of stuff they want to get rid of. Some of them are, actual businesses, like Chris at Windy Gaming, is going to be bringing a bunch of his stuff. But yeah, there's going to be a bunch of cool retro games, arcade boards, art, anything you can think of that's game related is definitely welcome.
For sure.
I think you said you're going to open up the vault for that one?
Well, nothing from the vaults are for sale.
Not the vault, but the backlog in storage.
There's definitely going to be a lot of... There's a distributor that was just closed down, or is closing down. Originally, they're in the Lions.
So that's close.
Very close.
Yeah.
They came over and were like, they've been doing this they've been doing it for 70 years. It's been a family-owned business, and they ran jukeboxes. And
wow.
The owner... he decided he's going to sell it all. He invited us down there, and he knows that the value of the stuff, but he has such an attachment to it. It's not about the money of it. He just wants it to get in the right hands.
Oh, okay.
He knows there's so many people that just like flip stuff, and he's got so many boards and parts, and he's donating a lot of that stuff to us. Just so we can keep our games up and running.
That's awesome.
And so incredibly generous of him. And then he does have a lot of games that he's like, yeah, sell this and can keep what you make on it. Or
nice.
So we picked up about a dozen games from him already. And
boards or full cabinets?
Full cabinets.
Oh, wow, okay.
There's a 2-player Daytona.
Nice.
The deluxe, super nice.
Yeah.
There's a deluxe Hydro Thunder. There's Off-Road Thunder. A lot of really good drivers. Not a ton of uprights, not a ton of classic stuff, but definitely some stuff that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely a lot of cabinets that there's been a lot of cabinets that were converted out to other games. There's a world-class bowling that's in a beautiful Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet with the original side art. So we look to do that as a restoration project.
Cool.
So definitely very interesting getting access to that warehouse. And again, we appreciate that the owner is so generous with us and willing to help keep the
Right hands.
wants it in the right hands and make sure that it's not just being dumped out and
Flipped on eBay.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's where half of the stuff ends up for classic games.
For sure. There's definitely a lot of money to be made in flipping games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting though. It's you see so many cabinets out there, and working with all these new arcades that we're helping open. Everybody's got questions of what's a game worth and how much should I be paying for this game, and it's we were having a discussion recently about that.
Yeah, just earlier this week we were like, I was asking about how much should I expect to pay for this board, and in a dedicated cabinet, just the board, and it's like there's so much that goes into determining a value of it, and I know you wanted to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. For us, we're constantly buying games, and the value we really just with the sheer number of games, like we have to be fiscally sound in what we're buying.
Picky.
Very. Even super rare games, it doesn't necessarily mean just because a game is incredibly rare that it's worth a lot of money. And it really brings up the question of, like, there's collectors that do it. If a game is rare, they'll pay anything for it.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Primal Rage 2 thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, you've had how many offers on that for how much money? A ridiculous amount.
An incredible amount.
Yeah.
5 figures.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sell it. Like, we got it
Obviously,
for very an inexpensive amount.
Yeah, Tom Brady gave us a deal of a century on that.
So generous.
Yeah.
But very much the same situation. He wanted it to be in the hands of somebody that can get it in front of the players and let people enjoy it. And there's so many different mentalities that go into when you're buying and selling cabinets. For example, there's a really good arcade that we've bought several games from, and some great games like Circus Charlie and The Pit, and basically got them for a couple $100 a piece.
Yeah.
Like, very inexpensive.
They looked like they were in good shape too.
All of them were. Like,
Yeah.
maybe needed a little monitor work or a little board work, but nothing too bad. But excellent prices.
Mm-hmm.
But however, he's got some incredibly rare things, and he definitely wants collector prices for them. Right now we're working on trying to acquire a game called Exterminators, which was done by Jeff Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And most people have never even heard of the game.
No, you got me on that one. I never heard that one.
Very unique game. Came out tail end of very few numbers. I think only 250 were made.
Wow.
One has popped up on KLOV, which is one of the top collector sites and a great resource for getting arcade parts. 2 years ago, somebody was trying to sell one for a couple $100, and nobody was interested in it. But this collector is now he's looking for a pretty sizable amount, like a couple $1,000s for it, and it's hard negotiating. Like, people think their games are worth what they think they're worth, and they factor it in by rarity or how much. A lot of times it'll have personal value.
Yeah, and how do you even price that? I mean, you can factor in how much you've put into a game, like parts-wise and maybe for your time, but, if it's the game that was in your basement when you grew up, you're going to have an emotional attachment to it that it's going to be hard to price that properly, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's places like Craigslist. There's Lethal Enforcers on Craigslist right now for $3,500.
Seems a bit steep.
I picked up, when we did our first warehouse raid, I picked up 3 of them for $40 a piece.
Wow.
And they pop up. Me personally, I would never pay more than $200 for Lethal Enforcers.
Right. Given that it's kind of a common game, right?
It's a common game. It's definitely got a fan base, but there were a lot of them out there. The game did very well when it came out. But I know several collectors that just have them, just kind of like in their back catalog of games. Definitely was one of the first like really, really popular light gun games.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was made here in Chicago, and there's a lot of them.
Right. So how does this person ask for $3,500? Like, why do you think? And is there any chance of him getting that?
There is. There'll be somebody that doesn't know how game pricing works, and that's very common. People think that games are like they're this big piece of electronic equipment and that everything is going to be several $1,000s. When they came out, they were like, you look at games like Street Fighter 4, that game came out and a single player cabinet was going for $27,000.
Right.
Now, a few years later, you can pick up the guts from one for $200.
Wow, that's a quick depreciation.
For sure. But a little more on that one is the console market had done such a number on the demand for that cabinet.
Well, then they released the arcade edition, which immediately drops the value of any of the older versions, right?
For sure.
So it's like World Warrior is out, and then Champion Edition comes out, and no one wants World Warrior anymore. So
board values are constantly fluctuating, though. There's games that are, and it's almost seasonal. Like Mortal Kombat is a great example of, in the summer months, Mortal Kombat boards tend to go for more money.
That's crazy.
It's really interesting.
It sounds like cars. People want cars more in the summer too.
That's true. That's true. When I bought my first Mortal Kombat, it just happened to be in summer. It was like I could go out and work in my garage and restore it, and it didn't. There's trends to it. The more people start talking about a specific classic board, it kind of, at times, will ignite other people to being also interested in that game, and then everybody starts scrambling for specific boards and parts, and that also drives up the cost of things. But it's definitely there's no right or wrong to it. Like there's
you said there was like a Kelly's Blue Book type thing that I see that when I look up games there.
They do also on KLOV. They do have a listing of how many. There's a group called VAPS, the Video Arcade Preservation Society, where everybody who's really into it, and there's thousands of members, lists all their games. And a game that, like a lot of people have, it'll just say there's 80 collectors that have this board. Or 80 collectors that have this game. Mm-hmm. 60 of them are in original dedicated cabinets, and then there's 20 that are just loose boards or in conversion cabinets. And it's like those numbers are out there, but that's only if the collectors are actually
in that community.
and that might make the number lower than what it actually is.
Oh, okay.
But it's tough. Like there's some games that the numbers just aren't accurate. Also, when those books came out, I think one of the more recent ones that we were selling here, we had a couple of copies of it, the Price Guide book. The numbers just seemed so just off to me. I think there was like some of the really great, like hard to find classics like Wacko, like they were priced at a couple $100.
Wow.
And since we've opened, I've seen 3 Wackos. 2 of them are in the hands of collectors that were like, I'll never sell it. It doesn't matter how much money you give me. Mm-hmm. And the other was the one that we ended up getting. And we ended up getting it at a great price. But it was more that particular seller just wanted us to have it. And he's a friend of the arcades, and he just gave us a deal on it. There's games like our Twilight Zone pinball. Mm-hmm. We could sell that machine goes for $6,000 to $7,000.
Wow.
Somebody donated that to us.
That's crazy.
They just didn't want it anymore. So it really depends on who's selling any particular game at any given time. Like, is it a collector? Is it a distributor or an operator?
Do you think the value should be more if it never was like, if it's never been in the public's, like it's never been in a public arcade or at a movie theater? Do you think someone can ask more for it if it's only been in a private collection?
For sure. The private collector games, it depends. Like, to me, that doesn't hold a lot more value. The games that I'm looking for, that we look for here, they're just like, they're all rare at this point. It's not like there's some place that we can just go out and we know we're going to get this rare game.
Right.
It's becoming, we're so selective now, but we have so many games. We have some of our regulars are getting into collecting, like Chris Teeter.
Oh, yeah.
He picked up a Paperboy and a Tubin, and he's got those games in his...
Doesn't also have APB?
Oh, I meant not Paperboy. APB is what he has.
Cool.
And he got great deals on those. But it's one of those kind of... He was at a show, and they had those games, and they were just priced very reasonably.
He almost couldn't not get them because they were priced so well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They needed a little bit of work. They weren't immaculate condition or anything, but for him, and often for us, like, I love getting a game that's not working, just because that's half the fun of it, is to go through it and shop it out and make sure that it's gonna work and restore it to where people are going to be able to enjoy it. For us, it's not worth to get this immaculate collector's piece and put it out for people.
Hundreds of people are just going to touch it anyway, and it's going to lose its gloss anyway, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's just the general use of it will make it not that collector's piece anymore.
Right.
And that for us is it's a fine line of like if we want to take a collector's piece and put it out on the floor.
Right. That's a big judgment call. Like, you want to preserve it, but you also want to let people play it.
Absolutely.
It's like, how do you decide that?
Absolutely. Like, for us, fortunately, just with the games that we have, it's worked very well. Like, our cabinets do tend to stay in really nice shape, but there's always that risk factor to it. And stuff like joysticks can go down, and it's all repairable as long as the artwork isn't damaged. And we do go out of our way to make sure that our cabinets are safe and people aren't putting graffiti on them or putting gum on them and stuff.
Well, unless you're Jeff Lee signing our Cubert, then we don't like people signing our cabinets.
Right, right. And that hasn't been an issue. Yeah. But, definitely it's with the industry of buying arcade cabinets is growing. Like, I get people asking us, what should I be paying for this? And it's getting so common, and it's such a difficult thing. Like, there isn't just a number. Like, I can tell people what we would pay for something, but it all comes down to want and availability and condition and
yeah, if something is if you see 20 boards on eBay for the same thing, you're probably not going to get collector price for it.
For sure.
I mean, that's just supply and demand at that point.
For sure. A lot of times, if you go on to KLOV, like, if you're just getting into the community, if you reach out and start talking on the forums on places like KLOV, or even us, like, we've given boards away. We gave
You gave me a Tekken 3.
I gave you a Tekken 3.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that in my cabinet. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. We gave Joshua Gatt and
Didn't we give Tim one?
Tim Foley got one of our U2U Choco Vader contactee boards. And if you get into the community and you talk to the people, a lot of people, if they think that you're going to really be getting into it and they feel that they can help you get deeper into the community, people tend to be like, not as I need top dollar for this. Like, people are willing to negotiate.
Right.
But again, we're always open to telling people our thoughts on what stuff is worth. And there's often times that there'll be a collector that'll have something and it has too much personal value to them. It'll be an Asteroids machine that they want $2,500 for. It's like, there's 10,000 Asteroids machines out there, and you can get them any day of the week.
So how does that work? Like, right now there's the event going on, the Kong Off.
Yes.
Does that drive the price up of Donkey Kong boards?
That's a good question. A lot of boards that they will always have a demand for them.
Mm-hmm. That's one of them?
That's one of them. Yeah. The Mortal Kombats, the Street Fighters, those will command $200 to $300. And it's
for just the board, right?
Just for the board.
Yeah.
Somebody will have a board at any given time. If you needed a Donkey Kong board, you can post and somebody will have one. And that's usually what they'll ask. But those are the people that are in the community that know what their value is. The fringe players that have had a machine in their basement for 20 years, to them, those people, they're like, you never see arcade cabinets anymore. This must be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And that could be the case with Lethal Enforcers. They just think it's this rare gem. And, like, maybe they'll get it. Like, I've seen some incredibly overpriced cabinets sell.
Yeah. I mean, if the buyer doesn't know, then, I mean, it's like a car. You might overpay if you don't know what you really should pay for it, because dealers are going to try to get whatever they can for their car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The knowledge of it between buyer and seller it's really the three facets of it. There's, like, the buyer price, the seller price, there's the going value of it, and then a lot of people have to work in the personal value.
Right.
Because there are a lot of games out there that people will they'll never sell it. Like, I hear it all the time. But then there's other people that give those games away.
Yep.
There was a guy, there's a Midway cabinet. Most Midway games, we wouldn't. But the collector guy that we're buying things from, he wanted $1,100 for one, and we had to walk away. Unfortunately, and it was a cabinet that we really wanted, but we just can't bring ourselves to pay that much for a game that like we think is only worth 200.
Right.
And we went back and forth, and we left it where it just wasn't fiscally sound for us. But 2 days later, he ended up getting $1,500 for it.
So it worked out for him in the end.
It worked out great for him.
Yeah.
He was in his mind, he was trying to cut us a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But we picked up the same cabinet from somebody else for $200.
Right.
So it's like it worked out for everybody except for the guy who spent $1,500.
Right.
But he's happy too. He has the cabinet that he always wanted.
Right. Yeah, as long as he's happy, then
there's no right or wrong to it.
as long as he doesn't hear that we paid $200 for the same thing, he'll be happy.
Right. But and again, even that, is there another one out there for 200?
I don't know. That might have been the last one for 200.
Might have been.
Yeah.
Or there could be some warehouse that pops up tomorrow that has 10 of them. But it's always hard to say. But definitely very interesting, and we encourage people to ask about values of games. And there's some stuff we don't want to be. We're pretty open with it, but.
It's a common question I get, like, just working on the arcade floor. People are like, man, I really want a Donkey Kong machine in my basement. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? I'm like, well, you can talk to Jeremy Prince Arcades. He might be able to set you up. But they're like, what should I expect to pay? I'm like, you know what? It really varies. Depending on the condition. If you want an original cabinet, that's going to drive up the price a lot. But I just don't know where to start. Except for eBay half the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And even with Jeremy, who we've bought so many cabinets from, like he buys them from whoever, and often he'll drive out of state or from wherever to go pick them up and then drive them back, and then he fixes them up, and that all has value to it as well. So if he pays $500 for a cabinet, and then he goes and gets it and spends gas money and time and storage and maintenance, and then obviously he has to turn around and sell it for more.
Yeah.
And it's interesting though, because like you have to kind of like pick and choose what you're getting. And sometimes buyers don't see that, and sometimes sellers don't see it. But
right.
It's all about having the knowledge of what's out there and what's available, and getting into the community and finding that out.
Cool. So, I brought up Kong Off briefly. I just wanted to also say that if you're a big Donkey Kong person or are looking to get into it, this is their yearly big tournament going on right now. I believe it's on Richie Knuckles' stream. If you wanted to tune in and watch any of it, just twitch.tv/Richie Knuckles, and it's the yearly competition for all the major Donkey Kong players.
Yes.
So,
been seeing a lot of great pictures of Richie and Billy Mitchell, and
yep.
Everybody's out there having fun. And we just had another cabinet upgrade. We had tracked down a new Donkey Kong 3 control panel.
I saw that. Yeah.
And
saw the picture last night. It
yeah,
looked awesome.
Seth had installed it, and it's working great now. And huge shout outs to him for doing that. And I know Matt Rocco was playing that for a long time, and the controls on it were good. But it's always nice having the artwork.
Yeah, it just feels better. I don't know what it is.
For sure.
Yeah.
With the swap meet coming off, we have Mike Jensen he's actually selling some of his cabinets.
Yeah, I saw his MK9 custom cabinet on the Facebook page. Looked awesome.
Yes, great cabinet. He also did an MKX cabinet that he's decided to part with as well.
Oh wow, okay.
With these really nice Raiden side art. So hit him. He can be reached on Facebook if anybody listening is interested in those. But he's coming out and bringing us a original dedicated Donkey Kong Jr. cabinet.
Really?
So another cabinet upgrade.
Nice.
Going up soon.
GGA and our Mortal Kombat and our Old Injustice team and Mortal Kombat 9 team, you know who 16-bit is, Steve. He officially last night announced that he is working now full-time at NetherRealm, so he's left the team, leaving on good terms with us. He just is not going to be competing anymore. He said he'll always be stopping by and saying hi, but he's officially not competing and not on Team GGA anymore. So we wish him the best at NRS and his new position there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We really do thank him for everything that he's brought to the team, and he's just won so many tournaments over the years, and just such a great competitor, and great to see him advance just within the industry. Like, that's what he always wanted, was to work on these games. So huge thanks to him for everything, and he's always welcome here at Galloping Ghost, and who knows, if he ever wants to compete again or is able to, we would be happy to have him back on. So.
Yeah, he's definitely a great competitor, and we appreciate all you did.
For sure. He will always have a spot here at GGA.
Cool. Well, anything else you wanted to bring up,
I think that should probably wrap us up for this week. We've got a big week ahead of us. We're planning so many things right now. We have Wizard World. We have Glass City Con. The Wizard World show is going to be really amazing this year. They want
When
us,
is that?
right at the end of the month.
Okay.
I still don't know the exact dates off the top of my head, but it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at some point.
Okay.
In August. But we're going to be bringing some of the Mortal Kombat actors with us, and Brian Colin and Jeff Lee will be coming with us, and of course we have our big anniversary week coming up.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to announce also our we will be running Atari Week scoring tournament.
Which week are we running that?
That is the week of our anniversary.
Oh, okay, cool.
So 20 Atari games. Obviously, we won't name which games they are.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not until the day of the tournament.
So is it the Sunday the 9th is the day it starts?
Yes.
Okay, and when does it end, on the 15th?
The 15th.
Saturday?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Cool.
I believe Dan Iacobelli will be doing, I believe Atari Mania, his Atari event.
Cool. Over here in this room?
I believe so.
Cool.
So that'll be a lot of fun. Well, I don't know. I don't know where that's going on.
We'll have to update you.
We'll have to get back on that. I don't know what he has planned, but
Atari has so many games.
yes,
We have so many Atari games in this arcade. That'll be good.
and several in the vaults too.
And the vault, I imagine like a bank vault, like with like a turning dial to get in there, and you gotta crack the safe to get in.
It's not that heavy security.
All right.
But yeah, we might see one or two new Atari games.
Cool.
So very excited for that. We haven't. Feels like it's been a while since we've done a tournament.
When's the last? Well, we did the shmup thing, which was kind of a minor tournament. It was only a weekend.
Yeah.
Before that, it was T20 in May. That was the last major tournament.
That yes.
So yes, it has been a little bit.
Oh, and we finally have our plaques were finally made for our T20 winners.
For the tournament winners?
Those will be going out soon, and it's we look forward to Atari Week though. That's
Are we gonna have one on display for the arcade for T20 also, like the plaque?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Well, we have. Yeah, probably. I
Okay.
believe we might have gotten one extra for the wall,
Cool.
acknowledging Zurst's win.
Yep.
So look forward to that. But definitely keep an eye on our Facebook page. We're going to be announcing a lot of great stuff for this upcoming week.
Yeah.
And
Follow Galloping Ghost Productions. If you're just following the arcade page, Galloping Ghost Arcade is just the kind of like the fan page or whatever you want to call it. But Galloping Ghost Productions, there's more interaction with the local community there. So I recommend, if you haven't followed that page, please follow that page as well.
absolutely. So thanks everybody for Pete Hahn, and I'm Doc Mack for the Galloping Ghost Arcade. We hope to see you around the arcade soon.
All right, take care, everyone.
Thanks everybody.